What's Russian for, oh, no, you didn't ski? I don't know. I do know that Rich Edson's at the State Department where they're trying to brace for what the Russian response will be, are kicking out 60 of their diplomats. Rich.
Good afternoon, Neil. And other countries are now joining. More Russians are heading home as NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and Australia announced that they are also joining more than 24 countries in kicking out more than 150 Russian diplomats. The Russian government is vowing to retaliate. The Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, says, quote, "Rest assured, we will respond. No one would like to tolerate such obnoxiousness, and we won't either." He says the United States used colossal pressure and blackmail to push other countries to join it in kicking out these diplomats. Now, the State Department says it still has not heard from Russia since it made the initial announcement. The expectation here is that the response from the Russians will mirror what the United States did, which is kick out 60 diplomats, close a consulate in Seattle. This deteriorating relationship between the United States and Russia, that'll fall to the next Secretary of State. That's expected to be the CIA Director, Mike Pompeo, who is actually here right now. Arrived around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Officials say he's meeting with top State Department staff here. He's also working on his confirmation hearing, preparing for that. That is expected next month, and he will be the next Secretary of State if the Senate confirms him. Now, the State Department has been saying throughout the day, as has the White House, that they're willing to have a better relationship with Russia, but the problem is they need to see a change in Russian behavior, and thus far, they've seen none of that. Neil.
All right, thank you, my friend. In the meantime, all the criticism that a lot of Democrats had, particularly this president, that he was very soft on Russia, very, very unwilling to take on Russia. Now, of course, an agitated Russia over so many of its diplomats getting kicked out, courtesy one president, Donald J. Trump, to retired General Jerry Boykin. General, what do you make of this?
Yeah, well, first of all, keep in mind that all countries have people that are doing human intelligence inside their embassies, and most of them have diplomatic cover. So the fact that we are sending 60 of the Russians home does not mean that the human intelligence collection effort will not continue here. But I will tell you, this 26, 27 countries, they have come together because of the leadership of Donald Trump. And that was one of the objectives, is to form this coalition to send a very strong message to the Russians.
Now, the president let staff, go ahead and do this, send a signal clear, let it be handled through the State Department, go through all the protocols that you would expect something like this would be done. But I haven't heard from those who criticized him, assuming that he owes Vladimir Putin something or that he wouldn't take on Vladimir Putin. You would expect that there would be an acknowledgement here, whether you like President Trump or not, that on this particular issue at this particular time, he did the right thing.
Well, it's more of the same. They're not going to give him credit for doing anything. I mean, what have they given him credit for? They've been continually critical of him in spite of his successes in his first year plus. But look, I think this is a very significant issue here, because think about this. You have 26, 27 countries that are all telling Russia, you are not going to get away with these shenanigans in our countries, and we're going to punish you. And that is an embarrassment for Vladimir Putin personally, but it is also difficult for them to carry on and continue the way they've been operating, particularly in these countries. And I think this coalition will grow before it's all over with.
General, while I've got you, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Apparently in China, there's obviously a great deal of pressure there. The Chinese are feeling the tariff squeeze, the North Koreans the sanctions squeeze. Are the two related?
Well, yeah, I think they are related, unquestionably. The Chinese know that the North Koreans are feeling the squeeze. They know that there's internal unrest in North Korea, which could result in all kinds of bad things happening there. But I think that the Chinese are very concerned also that Kim is going into a meeting with Donald Trump, and he is not prepared for that meeting. And I think they're trying to prevent him from giving away the farm. Now, I think that that's wrong in thinking that that might happen, because I don't think Kim has actually made a decision he's going to give up his nuclear weapons yet. But China has, I think, has a real concern about where this is all going with him meeting with and negotiating with Donald Trump.
Do you think they will keep him there, that he's not going back to North Korea?
No, I think he's going back to North Korea. I don't think that that's going to happen. But I got to tell you, the best solution to this whole thing, Neil, in my view, is that the Chinese take him out. I mean, just wipe this guy out. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, though. But it's a perplexing situation for the Chinese, just like it is for the Americans and the South Koreans. But ultimately, I think Donald Trump is going to prevail in this because he's shown such strong leadership against a guy that has never really had anybody stand up to him like this. And these sanctions are hurting him and hurting the North Korean people, and that is a recipe for disaster if he doesn't do something very quickly.
Yeah, it is weird stuff. It might be a one-way train ticket, to your point. We shall see. General